This video is going to be a big one because we're comparing two of the most popular smartphone software updates released this year. I'm talking about Google's Android 12 update and Apple's iOS 15 update. Both got announced around the same time, and I feel like we can learn a lot by comparing the two. We'll discover which features iOS 15 implemented that Android doesn't have, and vice versa. We'll also see which features were copied from one another, and similar features that both softwares released. Now these updates are massive and have hundreds of changes, so I won't be able to compare everything, but it's still going to be a very detailed comparison, so instantly drop a thumbs up for that. In the last video we almost hit 4,000 likes. Let's try to see if we can hit it this time around. Also, only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. So Android 12 has been available to download a few months longer than iOS 15 has. Google released Android 12 back in February with a developer preview update for the Pixels, and just last month with Google I/O, the company gave us a much better idea of the end result. They even provided us with a timeline as to when we should expect the software to be stable, which is sometime in August 2021. Apple, on the other hand, introduced iOS 15 just last week at WWDC and released the first developer beta update for anyone with an Apple developer account to try out. The beta testing phase should last throughout the entire summer, and I'm sure the public rollout date will occur around the same time that the new iPhones get released. Now, Google's main focus with Android 12 is to make the UI a bit more personal. To do this, they're basically changing the look of almost everything. I'll go into more detail later on, but so far, they've modified the look of the lock screen, notification panel, quick settings, system settings, throwing in some new animations, and even supporting dynamic themes. Of course, there are other things they've improved and changed, but my biggest takeaway about Android 12 is that it's now more exciting, colorful, and playful, even making iOS look dull and outdated. In contrast, Apple focused more on improving the functionality of its UI and apps. For example, FaceTime will allow you to listen to music or watch video with your friends who aren't in the same area as you, and you'll be able to FaceTime your Android buddies now. You'll also have much better control over what notifications or contacts can interrupt you when you're busy, and apps like Safari, Maps, iMessage, Weather, etc. have all been improved in one way or another. So there's obviously a huge difference in what Google and Apple are trying to accomplish with their major OS update. Let's go over what exclusive features each interface has that the other doesn't. Starting with iOS 15, I really enjoyed how they improved the notifications, even to the point where they can be better managed than those found on Android 12. One of my biggest annoyances is constantly getting interrupted by unimportant notifications. It usually breaks my concentration when I'm doing something, or just brings up my hopes for no reason when I'm waiting a text from a friend. iOS 15 tries to solve that in two ways. The first is through notification summary. Basically, iOS will automatically figure out which notifications are unimportant to you, since you rarely open them, and then it'll show you them in batches at a more appropriate time, such as in the morning or evening. That way you are only alerted by apps or contacts that you truly care about right away. Another way that you can manage your notifications is through a new tool that is now tied to iOS's existing Do Not Disturb mode. It's called Focus, and the idea is simple. Basically, when you enable one of these modes, all your notifications will be silenced except for the apps or contacts that you choose to allow, and you can even choose only to show a few of your home screen app pages, while the rest are hidden until the mode is turned off. I thought it was pretty cool. In my case, when I'm working, I can choose to only allow a few important contacts, and maybe the Gmail or Messages app to interrupt me. When I'm sleeping, I don't want any app to interrupt me, just a few important contacts such as any family members or close friends in case of an emergency, and I even created a custom one called Favorite Apps Only, which I use all the time to only allow important notifications to ding me, such as messaging apps, calendar events, Twitter, etc., while everything else like games or random apps are silenced. Oh, and when you're on focus mode, I thought it was really cool that anyone who tries to message you will be notified that you're on focus mode, and that their message will not make any noise. But they can still choose to forcibly bypass it and alert you anyways if they deem the message to be urgent. It's very similar to what Slack does. Android notifications don't have anything to this extent. I ended up using a third-party app called Datewise to get that same functionality, and it sucks too because they charge a subscription fee for this feature. Another iOS 15 feature that I wish Android had is the ability to drag and drop data across apps. For example, if I'm in the Photos app and I want to share a photo with another app, I can simply long press on any image or video and then use a second finger to swipe out of the app. Then I can open another one and let go of the file to drop it in. It works with any text, images, zip files, audio, videos, anything. On the Pixels, you can select and copy text within the Recents menu and paste the text into other apps, but that's it. iMessage is on a whole different level when compared to the Android Messages app. Everyone already knows this. That's not to say that Android Messages hasn't gotten better though with RCS messaging. But now Apple has improved iMessage in two significant ways. First, when you send multiple photos at once, iMessage will now stack them on top of each other. Or they'll appear as a glanceable collage, so that way you don't have a long list of individual photos. Saves you the hassle of scrolling. Secondly, whenever a friend shares a photo, article, music, podcast, or a link with you, that content will automatically appear within the relevant app in a new section called Shared With You. Just makes it easier to keep track of the music or articles that your friends share. Apple Wallet is now also a step ahead from other Android payment apps such as Google Pay or Samsung Pay. They just announced that on top of being able to store your credit cards, it'll also allow you to store your digital keys to your hotel, house, or vehicles. And what really impressed me is that it'll even let you scan your ID in selected states, and when you're at the airport, TSA will allow for this digital ID verification method. So in the right circumstances, you can walk out of the house without your wallet or keys. On the other hand, Google is planning to support digital car keys within Android Auto, but that's about it. Another exclusive iOS 15 change that I thought was extremely underrated is called Hide My Email. Essentially, whenever you're filling out a form or signing up for a newsletter that asks for your email, Hide My Email will allow you to generate a fake email address. Then, any incoming emails that you receive from that newsletter or service you signed up for will get forwarded to your personal inbox. This is very useful because if the newsletter or storefront begins to send you spam randomly, then you can quickly burn that fake email address to stop them. It saves you from having to jump through a ton of hoops just to unsubscribe from their newsletter. It's a feature that's also built into Mail, Safari, and iCloud. The search functionality on most stock Android launchers is far behind iOS's Spotlight feature, especially on the Pixel launcher. I usually just install a third-party launcher with Sesame integration to get somewhat of a universal search bar. In iOS 15 though, you can now search for photos by location, people, scenes, or even objects. Plus it can find text and handwriting in your photos when you search for specific keywords. To top it off, when you search for actors, musicians, TV shows, or movies, Spotlight now quickly provides enhanced results that provide a ton of information and in a fashionable manner. And my favorite feature that I wish Android had is the ability to search for apps that you don't have installed and then quickly install them from the App Store without needing to leave Spotlight. Now that's next level. Finally, the weather app on iOS 15 has gotten 10 times better, and that's mostly due to Apple buying up the famous Dark Sky weather app. Stock Android doesn't really have a dedicated weather app unless you're on another OEM such as OnePlus. Most people just use Google Assistant or download a third-party app from the Play Store. Either way, I really dig the revamped interface of iOS's weather app. It has a new animated background based on the weather in your location, a full screen map that lets you visually see the temperatures and weather conditions in other cities, states, or even countries. A lot of this is visual flair from Dark Sky, and it's definitely much better than what stock Android provides. Now there are also a ton of Android 12 features that iOS doesn't have, but before I go over them, I wanted to tell you about Skillshare, the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Trust me, there are so many skills that you can learn here, and it's so easy to get lost in your creativity. Their approach to teaching is made through easy to follow videos that are made by fellow creatives. For example, some of my favorite classes include YouTube Success, taught by Marcus Brownlee, aka MKBHD, so I can improve my overall video quality. He's taught me how to improve my scripting and video shooting, and honestly, it's interesting to see how a popular tech YouTuber goes about making such top quality content. A peek behind the scenes, if you will. I also love the Productivity Masterclass by Thomas Frank to better improve my productivity, and an advanced video editing class by Jordy to make my editing sessions more efficient. The best part about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads and they're constantly launching new premium classes so that you can stay focused and follow your creativity. It's incredibly affordable with an annual subscription being less than $10 a month, plus I'll let you guys in on a deal. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. So don't wait, do something today that you couldn't do yesterday with short classes designed for real life. Anyways, Android 12's new dynamic theming system is hard to compete with. Whenever you set a wallpaper, the UI will create a custom color palette based on the photo to have system elements and supported apps match it. In other words, the colors in your notification panel, quick settings, block screen, system background within the settings, and in the future, Google widgets and icons will have the same color as your lock screen's background. I absolutely love it. It really makes the OS feel personal and uniform. iOS 15 doesn't even let you customize the accent color, they just let you choose between a dark or light appearance. On top of that, the new quick settings panel in Android 12 is just a lot more straightforward than iOS 15. They're all the same size and have text next to them to clearly tell you what you're toggling or launching. iOS's power menu has different size shapes with no text next to them, so if you're new to iOS, you most likely won't know what every button does until you tap them. Plus, it'll even take you longer to realize that you need to jump into the settings to customize the power menu. Android makes customization much more accessible by letting you edit the quick settings on the same screen. Android 12 also makes it easier to use some of its interfaces with just one hand by dropping down the top of each menu. The settings are where it shows it best, but in the future, a ton of Google apps will begin to follow this trend. Gaming mode is also another exclusive feature that iOS still hasn't fully implemented, if at all. They just have a suggested focus mode for gaming to let you silence unwanted notifications whenever you open a game. On the other hand, stock Android technically also doesn't have a working gaming mode, but leaks have clearly shown us that Google is working on one, and it'll maybe be released very soon within the new Android 12 beta update. Not only will it let you enable Do Not Disturb mode, but it'll also have a floating toolbar that lets you quickly start screen recording and lets you see a live FPS counter when you're in a game. You'll also be able to optimize your gaming performance and stream your gameplay to YouTube. And that's not even mentioning other OEMs already having even more robust gaming modes such as Samsung, OnePlus, Oppo, and Xiaomi. Android 12 also lets you share Wi-Fi networks using Google's nearby sharing feature. It may not be as fast as just telling someone the password, but it's a great option if you don't want anyone to know it. You don't see airdrops doing that. In terms of privacy, Android 12 has gone the extra mile. This includes 2 new quick setting tiles that let you disable the camera and microphone. iOS 15 doesn't have that. Under the hood, there's a new app hibernation feature in Android 12 that basically force stops apps to reclaim memory and clears their cache if you don't use them long enough. Relaunching the app will bring them back out of hibernation. Whenever an app requests to access your location, you'll be able to allow it to use just an approximate one instead of a precise location. A good case scenario for this would be allowing a weather app to have your approximate location, since all it really needs to know is the city, while an app like Google Maps will need a more precise location for GPS navigation. Whenever you copy or paste anything, a toast message will appear to let you know which app tried to access the clipboard. Keeps it transparent. iOS 15 has something similar where apps won't know what's on your clipboard until you paste the content into the app. And just like iOS 15, Android 12 has a new privacy dashboard which shows you a timeline of every permission that was accessed and which app used them. Think of it like a digital well-being for your privacy. iOS 15 will provide a similar section called App Privacy Report, but it'll only work if you have iCloud Plus. But on top of showing you what permissions were accessed during the last 7 days, it'll also show you which of your apps have contacted other domains and how recently they contacted them. Those are most of the exclusive features that were released in Android 12 that iOS still doesn't have. Obviously, there are other minor exclusive features, but I'd much rather move on and talk about the features that Android 12 and iOS 15 copied from one another. Starting with Android 12, 2 new gestures are complete rip-offs from iOS. The first one is called one-handed mode, and it brings down half the screen whenever you swipe down on the nav bar, just like on iOS. The second copy gesture, called quick tap, lets you launch a task or open an app just by double tapping the back of the phone. Android 12 also took inspiration from iOS's orange and green indicators whenever the camera or microphone are being used in the foreground or background. For picture-in-picture mode, Android did it first, but iOS made it easier to resize the video by just double tapping or pinching in or out. Plus, they allowed you to hide the video off to the side instead of completely closing it. Android 12 copied all of that. When it comes to widgets, Android obviously did it first back in 2009, then iOS copied the same idea when they released iOS 14, but Apple did a much better job at making them look more uniform, interactive, and modern. They made stock Android widgets look simple, outdated, and inconsistent in terms of design. Now with Android 12, Google is wanting to improve their widgets by changing up the design, making them a lot more animated and giving us more options. The widgets haven't been released yet, but I was really impressed after seeing them within the Google I/O video, and I feel like Apple forced Google to improve its current collection. When it comes to iOS 15 copying Android features, they also have a few. Safari, for example, copied 3 features from Google Chrome. The first one is that you can swipe on the bottom address bar to switch between tabs. Google Chrome has had this for years. Safari also picked up on Chrome's grid tab view. I mean, it's way better than what they had before, so I don't blame them. And you can create tab groups to categorize or group any related tabs you opened. It just makes life easier, but Chrome has had this for a while now. Good old Siri also got some ideas from Google Assistant. In iOS 15, Siri no longer needs an internet connection to respond to some of your requests. This includes asking to deal with timers, alarms, opening apps, toggling settings, controlling audio playback, and more. It can't answer every command offline, especially when it's a technical question, but it's good enough. And Siri is also picking up on Google Assistant's ability to continue the conversation by referring to what you previously asked. Who is the President of the United States?
Joe Biden is the President of the United States.
How tall is he?
Joe Biden is 6 feet tall.
Who's his wife?
Joe Biden is married to Jill Biden.
iOS 15 has also introduced a new feature called Live Text, which basically recognizes any text or handwriting within the photo, screenshot, or live preview within the camera app, and you're able to copy the words to your clipboard. It's the same feature found within Google Lens in the Text tab, but Google Lens takes it a step further by allowing you to also automatically translate any text without needing to highlight it. You can also have it solve any math equation and a lot more. Finally, when it comes to FaceTime, I was actually surprised that Google Duo had already implemented most of the new features that Apple just released with iOS 15. For example, FaceTime now lets you share your screen with others. Google Duo already lets you do that. FaceTime now has a portrait mode to blur out the background to keep the main subject in focus. Google Duo also lets you do that. The only thing I'm excited about is that FaceTime finally opened up its doors to let Android and Windows users join in on the fun. Overall, I'm really impressed with both updates. I do feel like Android 12 is making bigger changes than iOS 15, but it fluctuates every year. Last year, iOS 14 was a much bigger update than Android 11 since they included widgets and provided more customization options to the home screen. This year, it's flip-flopped. If you're interested in trying out either of these updates on a supported iPhone or Android, I'll leave links in the description. Obviously, there are a ton of other changes found within both softwares, way too many to show off in this video, so I'll leave a few article links right below that like button to learn more about each OS. And I also made a detailed review of Android 12 a few weeks ago. Click the eye in the top right corner if you're interested. Either way, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, a quick thumbs up would go a long way, especially since it'll help the video get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. If you guys really enjoyed this video, please also make sure to get subscribed with the notification bell turned on, because when the next Android 12 beta gets released, I'll be reviewing it right away. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Kapow!